Hi, everyone, and welcome to our last review video and our last video of the semester. Can you believe it? So, we have 4 more strategies to talk about in this session, and then that's going to be it. So, let's go ahead and continue. We have talked about 10 strategies so far. And let's go ahead and learn about our last conversation strategies. Remember that you should use these strategies, at least some of them, in your final conversation project. It's very important that you use what we have learned this semester in your final conversations to show what you have learned. Okay? So let's begin with conversation strategy number 11. This is describing problems and solutions. So let's go ahead and begin. We just learned about describing problems and solutions. The words and phrases that are very important for describing problems and solutions are too much and too many, enough and not enough. Let's take a look at what they mean. Too much or too many means there is more of something than needed. For example, I have too many books. I have so many, I do not need that many. Too much. There is too much pollution. If we use the word enough, it means we don't need any more or any less. It's perfect. And not enough means we need more of something. So I could say, for example, there is not enough free time during the semester. And it's important to remember that enough and not enough can be used with countable and uncountable nouns. Remember, let's change colors here. Switch to blue. So when we have the word much or many, we have to think about the kind of noun we use. If we have a countable noun, we use many. Remember, count means 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's something I can count, I use many. For example, if I am talking about keys, I could say, I have many keys, or too many keys. If a noun is uncountable, means we cannot count it, right? For example, water is uncountable. I can't say, I have, in this bottle, I have 5 water. No. I could say, I don't have much water, and so on. So it's important to remember that many is with countable nouns, and much is with uncountable nouns. But the terms enough and not enough can be used with both. So I could say not enough water, not enough books, and so on. So let's go ahead and look at describing problems. Problem is 문제, right? So if I want to talk about a problem, I could use these phrases. Now, in the textbook, we learned about describing problems specifically about school problems. But we could use these phrases to talk about any problem that has to do with quantity or how much of something. There's too much of this, too many of that, not enough of this. We can talk about many problems this way. So here are some examples of phrases we can use to describe problems. We don't have enough. We have too much. There are not enough. There are too many. So here we can say we use not enough, right? Not enough means we need more of something. Too much means We need less of it. Not enough again. And then too many again means we need less. There is too much or too many. So let's have a look at some example sentences. We don't have enough free time. We need more free time. We have too much homework. There are not enough social events. There are too many students. So these are problems about school, but we could use any words here to talk about problems. Maybe I want to talk about problems in America. I could say we don't have enough free libraries. We have too much traffic. There are not enough parks. There are too many cars. So we can talk about problems in any way with these phrases, but let's focus on reviewing how we talked about them in our lesson last week. So we understand how to describe a problem, right? We use enough, too much, not enough, too many to talk about the problem. And then we want to talk about the effect of that problem, which we could just add so, and then talk about the effect or what that problem causes. Why is it a problem? For example, we don't have enough free time, so I'm often stressed. That's the effect of not having enough free time. We have too much homework, so I have to study every night. There are not enough social events, so I can't make new friends. There are too many students, so I can't talk to my teacher. So when we describe problems, we can say what the problem is, and to describe it, we also give the effect. Now, this is another time where we can give advice. Advice is something that seems to have come up in almost every unit in our book. Advice can be given on so many topics that it's a very important conversation strategy. So we have our modal verbs and some formal verbs here for giving advice. Should, would, could, suggest, recommend. We can also use conditionals. If I were you, I would. If I were in your situation. So for example, you should. If I were you, I'd. You could. I suggest. I recommend. Now, we've been talking about describing problems. If you want to describe solutions or ways to fix the problem, you give advice. So let's go ahead and look at how to give solutions to these problems. I don't have enough free time, so I'm often stressed. You could try cutting out unnecessary activities, or you should wake up earlier so you have more time. I have too much homework, so I have to study every night. I suggest that you take fewer classes next semester. I recommend doing a little bit every day. The lecture videos are too long, so I get tired when I watch them. You could have coffee before you watch, or you should watch a little bit each day instead of watching all the videos at once. So when we are talking about solutions, we are talking about advice. All right, so what should you remember about describing problems and solutions? Remember to use the correct form of much or many, depending on whether it's a countable noun or an uncountable noun. Remember, many is for countable nouns, much is uncountable. And as I said, these terms and phrases can be used to talk about any problem, not just school problems. And when you describe solutions, you can use all the normal advice terms that you've learned. All right, let's go on to conversation strategy. Number 12. We're almost there. There are 14. We're on number 12. And this is encouraging others to speak. So, if we want to encourage someone to start talking, there are some different phrases we could use. These are useful when you are talking to a very shy or quiet person, or maybe you are in a group of people and some people are talking, but maybe other people are not, and you want to encourage them to start talking. You can use phrases like, "What do you think?" and then their name. "Well," and their name. "How about you?" "Does anyone else have an idea?" Or "Does anyone else have something to say?" "Do you have an idea?" and their name. Or "Would you like to start?" and their name. These can be used in a few different situations. If we are talking in a normal conversation and we just want to ask for someone's opinion, let's say my friend's name is Stacy. So if I want to know her opinion, I could say, "What do you think, Stacy?" Maybe I'm talking to another person, but I want to know her opinion. "What do you think?" "Well, Stacy, how about you?" Maybe I am talking with many people and I want her opinion. If we are talking about ideas and maybe thinking of what to do or some kind of plan or even a solution to a problem, we could ask, "Does anyone else have an idea?" Or "Do you have an idea, Stacy?" And the last term here, "would you like to start?" is good if you're having a conversation maybe in school or at work. You could ask, "Would you like to start?" These are all good for group conversations. But this one you can use in any normal conversation. What do you think? Let's go ahead and review our example. Here we have 3 people, and let's see how they get person C to start talking. "I think we should go see a movie after dinner tonight." "Yeah, that sounds great. What movie should we see?" "I want to see the new movie Tenet." "Me too. It looks so cool." All right, so far we have A, B, A, B. "What do you think, Amy?" Okay, now we get C talking. "I'd love to see it too. Thank you for asking." So here, these 2 people were talking, but they wanted to know Amy's opinion. So they said, "What do you think, Amy?" And then she became a part of the conversation. And that's why it's important to know phrases for how to encourage someone to start talking. Now, what if you want someone to continue talking? We want to hear more, we want them to tell us more. We can say, "Tell me more," or "Can you tell me more?" This is great if maybe someone is talking about something interesting and we want them to keep talking. We could say, "Can you tell me more?" If we're listening and we want them to continue, we could also say, "Uh-huh, mm-hmm." This shows that we are not going to talk, but we want to keep listening. "Uh-huh, mm-hmm." "Right" is another one. Right. These are words to use when we are actively listening and we want the person to keep talking. We're showing that we're listening, but we want them to keep talking. And of course, like conversation strategy number 1, we can ask open-ended follow-up questions using our 5 W's and H. That's a great way to get people talking, to have longer responses, and to make the conversation interesting. These phrases are good in a one-on-one conversation or in group conversations. You can use them in any situation. So here's this example. "I'm so frustrated. I have too much homework, so I don't have time to relax these days. Yeah, it's been a difficult semester. I just don't know what to do. I've found a way to make things easier. Ooh, so here I'm interested, person A. Ooh, tell me. Can you tell me more? Oh, yes. So we heard something interesting. We want the person to continue talking. Can you tell me more? Sure. I've been keeping a schedule and doing a little work each day so I don't have to do too much at once. Right. Good idea. How much work do you do each day? About 2 or 3 hours a day. So here we have, oh, I'm listening. Right. And then I have a question because I want you to continue talking. How much work do you do each day? We've got our open ended question. So these are great ways to keep conversations going and to show that we are interested and we want to know more. And that is what you should remember. These are important skills for including others in your conversation, like with the 3 people, 2 are talking, we want to include the third person. What do you think, Amy? These are polite ways to encourage everyone to be in the conversation as well. All right, 2 more strategies to talk about. Let's review QARF. So, we can use QARF in all conversations, and I do expect to see this on your final conversation. Q is question, A is answer, R is response, and F is follow-up question. So let's look at what QARF is in detail. Let's review. It is a conversation strategy that can help you speak more fluently and also to have more fluent conversations. You can always tell where you are in the conversation and you'll know what to do next, which is very helpful, right? Especially if you're feeling a little nervous. It's good to have, okay, this is what I do next. So, what is it? Let's go ahead and, before we look at the example, so we have our question, answer, response, and follow-up question. And like I said when we were talking about conversation strategy, number 1, in the first review video, your follow-up question should be about the topic, okay? Why is that happening? It should be about the same thing. So if you're talking about food, it should be about food. If you're talking about music, your follow-up question should be about music. So here's an example. What did you do last night? Great, there's our question. I went to an internet cafe. That's fine, but we should add more information and more details. I went to an internet cafe with my friends after class, and then we ate fast food for dinner. Then our response. Really? Wow. Remember our reactions? There's a reaction word, really? But we shouldn't just react, we should also add more information. It sounds like you were really busy yesterday. And then a follow-up question. What computer games do you usually play? Because we're talking about a PC bang, right? An internet cafe. It is very important to remember to add more information, which we see here in blue. And when I look at your final project conversations, I am looking for detailed answers and detailed responses. If they are too short, not good. Make sure you have detailed responses. So this is easy. QARF is a loop, which means it just keeps going. Question, answer, response, follow up. Question, answer, response, follow up, and so on. And it keeps the conversation going. So remember this chart where we filled it in with the questions and answers? So here we see, do you like to play computer games? Here's our answer. Yes, I do. I like to play League of Legends. League of Legends, really? Response. And then a little more information. That's a fun game. In our follow-up, how often do you play LOL? And we could do that with any question. If I ask someone, do you have brothers or sisters? I would say, yes, I do. But remember, we want more details. Yes, I do. I have 3 brothers. One of my brothers is older than me, and 2 are younger. Great. A response. Wow, really? That's and then we also want more details. That's a lot of siblings. I only have 1 brother. And then a follow-up question about the topic, right? We want our follow-up question to be about the same topic. Where do they live? So this is how we use QARF. So what you should remember about QARF is it's a loop. Remember to respond and ask a follow-up question and add more details when you are responding. And remember, no interrogations. Don't just ask question. This is why you need to respond. A real conversation isn't one person asking many questions, right? If I ask you a question, you answer, and I respond, and we talk about it, and then maybe another question will come up. Now let's go to our very last conversation strategy, which is speaking up for yourself. So we watched a TED Talk about this, right? So let's go ahead and review this very important conversation strategy. So to speak up for somebody or something means to be assertive. And to another word we could use is advocate for yourself. So this is a very important skill, and it is important to learn how to do it in English too. So in the video, he talked about these 7 strategies for speaking up for yourself. Perspective taking, mama bear, gain allies, advice seeker, show passion, display expertise, and signal flexibility. So let's review what these mean. Perspective taking means imagine how other people feel before you talk. Mama bear means speak up for others, advocate for others. Gain allies is making sure there are friends around when you're speaking up for yourself so they can support you. Advice seeker means to ask for advice to seem competent but humble. Show passion means to talk about what you love, what are your passions, what do you really, really love. Display expertise means to show examples of things you're good at. And signal flexibility is to give choices. So these are those strategies. How do we do it in English? Well, when we are speaking up for others or advocating for others, we can use the skill of complaining in English politely. Excuse me, I think there's something wrong. This happened, But using those polite phrases that we learned are a great way to speak up for someone else or to speak up for yourself, right? Excuse me, I think there's something wrong. I'd like to talk about this problem. Asking for advice, we know all about, right? If you ask for advice using those phrases, what kind of advice do you have for me? What do you suggest? What do you recommend? What would you do if you were me? These are all great ways to seem competent but humble. Express your passion, well, that's talking about likes. I'm crazy about, I'm really into. Show who you are to help speak up for yourself. And showing examples of what you do has to do with talking about your hobbies and interests. So I know how to do it, I do it often, and so on. And finally, giving choices to the other person, we can use our hypotheticals. You could do this or this. I would do this or this, giving choices. So these are all helpful strategies that all come together to help you learn how to speak up for yourself. Okay, everyone, that is it for review. So we're done. You did it. Congratulations. That's our last video for this semester. I will see you all on Zoom next week, right? Be there Wednesday, June 24th at noon. And I look forward to seeing your conversations and talking to you one last time. So that's it, everyone. It's been wonderful making these videos for you and seeing all of your great work. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday, all right? Bye-bye.